Hi, welcome to Pet Pals. I'm Bethany Davidson, the Humane Educator here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. Joining us this morning, first off, is Kenai. And Kenai is definitely going to make Tammy put a little bit more effort into her animal wrangling this morning. Kenai is a one-year-old Siberian Husky, and he is sable and white, and he's just a goofy guy filled with energy. So you want to make sure you think about that before you decide to make Kenai part of your family. He is a dog that is very intelligent, and he's going to need lots of mental stimulation to keep him feeling good at home. You know, if he's going to find something to get into to entertain himself, if he doesn't have something, which means he's maybe is going to pull stuff off your counters or chew on your furniture, those types of things. So you want to make sure you're providing him with adequate mental stimulation. Also, he's just going to need proper physical stimulation as well, keeping in mind that Huskies were bred for cooler temperatures. So if you hate the winter and you don't want to be outside walking your dog in the colder temperatures, that's when he's going to be most excited to go outside. So maybe, again, not a good fit for you. And keeping in mind that as the temperatures start to get warmer, his coat is going to make it so he's not going to be able to stay outside for as long as maybe other dogs. So you want to be really mindful of what is an appropriate temperature for him to be outside in. You know, you might have to walk him early in the morning or late in the evening once summer hits, just to make sure that that's going to be the coolest time and the safest time for him to be out. We are looking for someone with Husky or similar breed experience. It's not a requirement, but it is our preference for Mr. Kenai here. He appears to keep his kennel pretty clean. He's friendly when you approach his kennel. He does react favorably to other dogs. He's easy to leash up. He can pull a little bit on a leash, so making sure that you can handle him confidently. You might also consider a harness with him. He doesn't have any serious issues with food aggression, but he does start to body block a little bit when you try to remove the bowl from him. He holds it with his paw. And then according to our staff, he has husky mouth. He likes to tug, and he reluctantly gives objects when asked, but he does mouth at hands. So training him and letting him know what is appropriate in that regard. He likes to be petted. They say that he's a goofy dog, very intelligent. He's going to need lots of mental stimulation and training to excel. If you are interested in Kenai, you can visit him here at Animal Control. The adoption fee for this guy will be $92.50. A while back, everybody was going wild over Fiona the hippo, and here at Animal Control, we're wild about our very own hippo. This is Henry. He's our little Henry hippo, and he is about 7 to 8 year old blue and white pit bull mix, and he came to us as a stray, and Henry actually looks really, really good right now. When he came to us, he was a crusty mess. He had a lot of issues with his skin that were really infected. He had eye infections, ear infections, all of those things, and now about 3 weeks later, he's looking really good, and he's made his way to our adoption floor. Henry is one of the sweetest dogs on the floor. Everyone has instantly fallen in love with our little hippo. Things that you'll notice about him, his ears have been very poorly cropped. So that's just a permanent thing for him. He also has some issues with his eyes that are a little visible in addition to the skin. Henry has what's called entropion. And so the eyelashes grow in the opposite direction that they're supposed to, so that can irritate the eyes. So he is going to need to have a surgery done to fix that so that he can feel more comfortable. That is a very, very delicate surgery. Sometimes the sutures can come undone. It's something that might have to be repeated in the future. So because of the conditions that Henry has, he also has a mild heart murmur and just the ongoing care for his skin infections. If you don't have a lot of financial a lot of extra financial money to set aside, financial resources to set aside for medical care for your dog, then Henry might not be a great dog for you to have. Not because he isn't great, personality-wise. He's very affectionate. He was ready to play. He's just a sweet guy. But if you can't afford those ongoing medical costs, maybe another dog might be a better fit for you. Sometimes our auxiliary group, Focus, our nonprofit, they can help fundraise and provide funds for some of these surgeries for us to do them. They have a fundraiser going on right now for some of the animals in the shelter, so it's something that we might be able to cover initially, but we can't make any guarantees about what animals are going to receive those medical funds. Sometimes the owners will have to go ahead and pay for those surgeries once they take ownership of the animal. Because he is a senior, he would go home for a reduction in his adoption fee. So instead of $92.50, he would go home for $72.50. This big guy is Jack, and he is a Rottweiler mix. He's about 3.5 years old, and he's super handsome. He came to us previously owned. He was surrendered because a child in the home became allergic to the dog. One of the things you will notice is that Jack is a little bit on the thin side. So for the dogs that are a little underweight here at the shelter, we work to make sure that they are getting adequate nutrition, that they're going up to the weight that they should be, just like we would work with the animals that are overweight to get them down to an appropriate weight. So things that we do for dogs that are a little thin or underweight, we provide them with 3 feeds a day instead of the normal 2 that we would provide. Or in some cases right now we're trying out a little bit of a free feed situation to make sure that they have access to food a little bit more frequently. So when you see animals that are a little underweight when you're walking on the adoption floor, please know that we are aware of that, and we are working to make sure that these animals stay healthy. Things that we know about Jack, based on information from his family, is that he knows sit, he knows stay, he knows paw, he knows down. They say that he is both house trained and crate trained. He's calm, which we've definitely seen. They say he can be a little shy, but he's very playful, energetic, friendly, rides well in the car, walks well on a leash. He's used to children of all ages. And when we did our behavior assessment, some of those things we definitely found to be accurate. He walks easily on the leash, but we see that he bounces around and can pull a little bit. No reaction to other dogs, very friendly when you approach his kennel, loves to be petted, wasn't really interested in any toys that we provided him, keeps his kennel clean. One thing that is very important to note is that we discovered that he really does not like having his mouth handled. So, good to make sure you're not pulling toys and things out of his mouth, not poking in those areas. He's got some jowls, not letting little kids pull on those, poke at those. So just being mindful of how he feels about that area of his body and respecting that. As an adult dog here, Jack would be adopted for a fee of $92.50. If you have a dog already, we do also encourage you to bring your dog in to meet with any of our adoptable animals, just to get an idea of how that's going to go. If you're interested in Jack, you can visit him here at 1832 Rosemont Avenue. This is Boz, and Boz kind of has a sad story. He's only 6 months old, and this is his second stay with us. He is a puppy, and unfortunately some people come into the shelter and they like the idea of a puppy, but they don't necessarily want to put all the work into properly training and socializing their puppy. Boz was returned to us because he just wasn't a good fit for his family, his energy level and things like that. So if you're considering making a puppy part of your family, and we do have a few puppies on the adoption floor, you really want to make sure that you're committed to them. Make sure that you have time and it's going to be a good fit. If you have a super long commute and you're, gone 10 hours a day, puppy probably not a good fit for you. If you have kids that have tons of activities, so you're constantly rushing from this soccer practice to band practice to this and that and the other thing, then maybe your family just doesn't have time to devote to going to puppy classes and walking your dog and making sure that he's stimulated and things like that. So you want to make sure that you really are prepared to take on a dog, and sometimes it's how busy you are as far as your lifestyle, and sometimes it's maybe you're a little older and you just don't have the energy to deal with a young dog like this anymore. So really making responsible choices about whether or not you can commit to a puppy. Because puppies are such a big commitment and they require a little bit more care when they're here with us, their adoption fee is higher than an adult dog. They would be adopted for a fee of $150. As I mentioned earlier, we have several of those types of dogs on the adoption floor. Boz is a hound mix. Trying to figure out what he's mixed with. He's very long, so you might say basset hound, you might say a variety of things, but one thing is for sure, this guy has some giant little feet on him. So whether he grows up or out or what he's going to do, I feel like he's going to definitely get a little bit bigger here. If you're interested in Boz, you can visit him here at the shelter. We are open to the public 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. Our last canine guest is Reagan, and she is a beautiful brindle pit bull mix, and she's got that great gray muscle, just showing off that she is a wise senior dog. She's about 6 to 7 years old, based on our estimation. She did come to us as a stray, and the great thing about senior dogs is that they are experienced pets. They have all the love to give, and they know exactly how we like it. So lap dog. Everybody wants a dog to keep them warm and to cuddle with. Reagan already knows that as an experienced pet. She's also very mild-mannered. She's very kind of respectful. For the most part, all our staff, when they behavior assessed her, had only the best things to say about Reagan. The only thing that might be a bit of a deterrent for some people is that she's not really been great about keeping her run clean. So that might mean she needs to have a little bit of a refresher course on house training. But we always say that you should treat all of our dogs when you take them home as if they're not house trained. The other thing is that during her vet check, we did notice that she had 2 mammary tumors. Our vet has recommended that when we spay her, we remove those and then send them out for biopsies. Reagan is a very sweet, calm dog, just looking for a family to give her lots of attention, to cuddle with. She was mildly interested in the toys here. She loves to be petted. She willingly lets go of toys and objects. She doesn't really pull. She's easy to walk. So she's a great dog, and if you're looking for a first-time dog, then Reagan might be a good choice for you, because she is a little bit easier to manage than some of our higher energy dogs. As a senior, she will get that $20 reduction in her adoption fee, making her adoptable for a fee of just $72.50. We thank you for meeting some of our adoptable dogs today. These are just a few of the many that are on the adoption floor right now, ranging from the smallest Chihuahuas, senior Chihuahuas, puppy Chihuahuas, all the way up to Gunner, our 103-pound coonhound mix. So we have something for everybody. Just make sure you stop in and visit if you didn't see anything that sparked your interest here on the show today. If you're a cat person, have no fear. After the break, we'll be introducing you to 5 of the many adoptable cats here at Animal Control.
Many volunteer opportunities are available on Frederick County boards and commissions, whether the Commission on Aging, Human Relations Commission, the Solid Waste Advisory Committee, Workforce Development Board, or many others. Those desiring to serve must be residents and registered voters of Frederick County. For more information, contact Joyce Grosnickel at 301-600-1102 or by email at fcgboards@frederickcountymd.gov.
Welcome back. Our first cat is one that's quickly gaining my affections. This is Simba, and right now he weighs in at 10 pounds 8 ounces, and he is only 7 months old. So he is a big guy, but he's just long and tall, and he's not overweight. He's just a big guy. So we're not sure. He could get a little bit bigger. He could get a lot bigger. Just keep that in mind when you're, taking kittens home. A lot of people buy things for the size that their kitten is now without taking into consideration that kittens grow into adult cats, and you don't know ultimately how big they're going to be. So you might need to buy a carrier that's better suited for the size of your now adult cat, or a litter box that's better suited to their size. All of those things are really important just for your overall care and maintenance of your pet. For example, if the litter box is too small for your cat, he or she may not use it because it's uncomfortable for them. So there's a lot of important reasons to make sure you're buying things that are appropriately sized for your pets. Simba arrived at the shelter on the 5th of March, and he was previously owned from the time he was 8 weeks old. And unfortunately, the children in the home started to develop allergies to Simba, so they brought him here so that we could find him another suitable home. They say that he is able to handle, he's independent, he's a lap cat, playful, energetic, friendly, all things that we've definitely seen from him. They said that he's afraid of strangers as well, and everybody's pretty much a stranger here, and he's not necessarily shying away from them. He's definitely not listed as one of our shy cats. He's not hiding. He comes right to the front of his cage. He engages people. He's just a really well-rounded cat. I've seen him playing with toys. They say he loves the laser pointer, and now he's totally eating up all of the attention that Tammy is giving him, just perfectly happy sitting on a lap. And a lot of people are looking for that really good mix. I took him to an event recently at a library. So there were 3 cages, and he was on one. There was cats on either side of him. He wasn't really upset about the other animals being relatively close to him. He was able to look out a window, so he was really excited about that and very much into the window. So if you have a nice place where you can set up a cat tree or some sort of bed where he can look out a window, I think that would be something that he would really enjoy. We've gone ahead and neutered Simba. He's been rabies vaccinated and microchipped, and had all his preventative vaccines, dewormer, all that stuff. All he needs now is a new family. So if you think that Simba's going to be a great match for yours, you can stop in and visit with him here at 1832 Rosemont Avenue. People often ask me how the animals get their names here at the shelter, and Mo is a good example to kind of talk about that. So if an animal comes in and doesn't have a name, then we will name them. So if you see quotation marks around an animal's name on their cage card or on their paperwork, that means that our staff have provided them with that name, or our fosters if they were in a foster home, those types of things. If an animal has come in with a name already, we, for the most part, keep those names, and you will notice that those names do not have quotation marks around them on their various forms of paperwork. Sometimes, however, we feel like it is better for the animal if we change their names, and Mo here is a good example of that. So Mo came in originally named Monster, and we think that she is anything but a monster. She's a delightful little cat. If somebody was walking by and they saw that there's a cat named Monster, that might lead to people believing that she's a really poorly behaved cat, or she's a mean cat, or any of those types of things, and it might affect her chances of being adopted. So for that reason, we have just shortened her name to Mo, in the hopes that that will help her find a family quicker based on how she actually is, and not some false sense of who she is based on the choice of her name. So we've gone ahead and changed that. She is 6 years old. She is black and white, and she has the biggest green eyes. They're just always, really round and just beautiful, and always looking at you like right into your soul. And she is very sweet. She's very outgoing. She's very affectionate. And like we talked on the show earlier, with Boz, I don't know that her personality from her previous owner really reflects who she truly is. And it could be, again, they have different interpretations of animal behavior, but based on what I've seen here, as someone who I think is pretty cat savvy, I don't see Mo as being aggressive or being overtly shy or anything like that. She's a little on the shy side, but not anything beyond just being here in a scary environment. All they say is that she's aggressive, shy, and nervous and afraid of strangers, and I really haven't seen any of that behavior from her. If she was really that shy, we would have color-coded her differently to indicate that to potential adopters. If you are interested in making Mo part of your family, the first step is, of course, going to be to visit her here. She is a senior cat at 6, so she will go home for a $20 reduction in her adoption fee. Our normal adoption fee is $97.50, so she'll go home for $77.50. Our next guest is Gigi, and she is one of the most confident cats I think I've seen in a while here at the shelter. Nothing really phases her. I took her to the radio the other day, and she came out of the carrier and just acted like it was her house, and walked around and explored, and didn't show any signs of being nervous or anxious or anything. She was just perfectly happy to be getting the attention that she wanted. So if you have maybe a busier household, or you're not sure that you're nervous about whether a cat's going to acclimate well to your house, then maybe she would be a good fit for you, because she doesn't really seem to be fazed by much. Most of the cats come out here and they don't like the air vent that makes a noise, and it's blowing air right now, and she doesn't really care. She's just perfectly happy to look around and see what's going on and get rubbed and get lots of attention. So she's definitely becoming a standout cat. In addition to her great personality, she's also a beautiful cat. She's got a very soft, shiny, domestic medium hair black coat. She will maybe need a little bit more grooming maintenance than some of the other cats we've seen on the show today, just to make sure she doesn't get matted. Those things can be painful. And she too has some beautiful green eyes. Why was this great cat surrendered? Well, the family was moving and they said they couldn't take her along. They said that she has gotten along with other cats. They crossed out dogs, so I'm assuming that she wasn't a dog fan. She's calm, able to handle, independent, playful. I've also noticed that she is a serious lap cat. I was recently trying to take a photo of her, and she made it really difficult because she wouldn't stay in her cage. She kept coming out onto my lap and wanting to sit on my lap and be cuddled. Yes, I'm talking about you. Ultimately, I just had to turn to selfie mode and take a picture of her while she was sitting on my lap, because there was no way I was gonna win that round. She definitely weaseled her way into some extra lap time. So she has that going for her. She's still a little playful. She's gonna strut her stuff, walk around your house like she's always lived there. If you are interested in a beautiful senior cat, you can visit with Gigi here at the shelter. Our visiting hours are going to be Monday, Tuesday, and Friday from 10 to 5, Wednesday and Thursday from 12 to 8, and Saturday from 10 to 4. Our next guest is Regina, and Regina has been with us since January, and she's come a long way. She's very friendly, approaches people now. You can see her playing in her cage all the time. She really loves to play. She likes to play with trash like a typical cat. She tries to peel off paper and things from her litter box, her cardboard litter box, because she'd rather play with that, the tags on her rugs, instead of all of the nice toys that we've actually provided her with. But when Regina first came in, she was what we call a wild box cat. So she was abandoned by her owner. What's a wild box cat? So we have these special boxes that have holes in them, obviously, so the animals can breathe, and they have slots in the back where you can remove a door, so to speak. So when we have animals that are very fearful or unhandleable, sometimes feral cats, we put those wild boxes in the cage with the animals, and they can go in there and hide and feel safe. And then we can use that door and close that door so that the animals can be safely contained. You can take that kind of out as a carrier so that you can clean the animal's cage without having to touch it and interact with it a whole bunch, so that the staff can be safe if the animal is potentially a dangerous animal, or they can just feel nice and safe and cozy when they're just a little bit scared, like Regina here. She moved from her wild box to having that removed because our staff found that she was becoming very interested in people and attention. She was showing friendly behavior. She was allowing herself to be pet and handled, didn't try to escape. She just warmed up to her time here in the shelter. And that's something that you will hear us say a lot around the shelter. Sometimes we're super surprised and proud of the animals and how far they've come, and we'll be like, oh, this used to be a wild box cat. So that's where that reference comes from. But now Regina's just playful and active. She is still a purple card because you want to make sure that you're paying attention to her body language and that she's feeling comfortable and things like that. But otherwise, she's going to make a great pet for a loving family. As I mentioned, she loves to play, but now she's actually sitting out here on Tammy's lap quite confidently, given where she came from. If you are interested in the beautiful Regina, you can visit her here at 1832 Rosemont Avenue. Our last cat today is one of our new additions to the kitty cabana. This is Romeo, and he's recently moved into the transition cage in our cabana 1 with Pinky and Blue, and he's settling in quite nicely. He's coming to the front of the cage. He was initially a little shy when he first came in, but he's definitely proven himself to be a very affectionate, sweet guy. He's settled in nicely here at the shelter. He will be coming out of that transition cage in the next week or so, once we've established that he and Pinky and Blue can kind of at least tolerate living with one another without incident. And I think that that's going to go really well because they haven't really been all that bothered with each other up to this point. And so then anybody can just come in and freely sit down on the bench in there and see if any of the 3 cats that currently live there want to hang out. He's perfectly content to be on Tammy's lap right now. He's just looking around. He's not concerned about the air vent or the camera or being in a new environment. He went in his carrier nicely. I carried him out. He didn't make a sound. And he, came out pretty quickly and established himself right on Tammy's lap where he's getting lots of attention. So he is a solid cat. He's another one of our bigger guys. He weighs 11 pounds, but it feels like a little bit more. He's definitely very solid, and he's got great markings. He's got the black and white markings, but his chin is all completely white, and his whiskers are white, so it gives him that look of like a little goatee and a mustache. He's just really a sweet, handsome guy who deserves another chance at a forever home. Hopefully the last home he will ever have to know. If you want to meet Romeo or any of the animals that you've seen on today's show, the only way you can do that is to come here and visit. Our address is 1832 Rosemont Avenue, and we are open to the public 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. We hope that we will see you here sometime soon, and we will be back here next week with another new episode of Pet Pals for you on Frederick County Government Television.